that you can apply to this etude during your learning process. To start, keep in mind that the musical process begins with the breath. So have time and subdivisions already happening before you breathe. This will offer you more consistency and confidence on the first note and solid rhythm from the start. Learn each breath slowly. As you speed up the breath, focus on changing only the speed of the breath and not the quality or feeling of the breath. Don't clip the note before a breath. If needed, play with the time and not the length of the note. Break the etude into sections, and even break sections into chunks. If needed, break chunks into bars or single beats. Spend most of your time where time is needed without mismanaging your time in sections that you have already mastered. And be conscious of your metronome markings. Don't play faster than is comfortable. Instead, always play at whatever speed you can execute the passage, section, or etude to its very best. Remember, muscle memory and speed are not necessarily related. Be true to the slurs and articulations that are written. If you change something, it should be through a conscious, well thought out musical decision and not a mistake due to lack of attention. And record yourself at all stages of your learning. Don't wait to record yourself only when you feel ready to perform the entire etude at tempo. You might have neglected something important, and the process of unlearning and relearning is much longer and more difficult. And always practice as if it was a performance. Now, let's look into some more specific notes related to this etude. Right away, make sure that the very first note is not clipped or too short. The tempo is brisk enough that it will make for a short note, even if you think full, non-stopping airstream. Even practice it as a long note a few times, just to establish good muscle memory for that note. Map out your breathing based on your personal needs, but make sure that the phrasing is never interrupted. Music needs to breathe, so do your best to find ways to conceal your breathing needs and the musical breath. Learn the etude slowly, focusing on the airflow while staying very flexible and keeping the sound quality even throughout the entire register. Play entire phrases in the opening, completely slurred, and even entirely flutter-toned, which will help develop a healthy airflow throughout the opening. Use fast fingers with decisive strikes of the vowels, both on the way down and on the way up. Hear the sound of the vowels in both directions. This holds true even for the slow passages or when practicing slowly. During the 16th note runs of arpeggios and scales, you will often find it being interrupted by a larger interval. It is important to stay flexible and in time with these intervals. It is common to overcompensate for the intervals, which can result in an unnecessary opening of the embouchure. Be creative with these intervals when practicing. Find ways to develop a healthy muscle memory. I like to practice them slowly, varying between playing a full chromatic scale between the interval, playing the interval inverted, using dotted rhythms alternating between long, short, and short, long, and adding a glissando between the interval. play the full value of notes preceding a rest. To be sure how long a note should be, replace the rest by a repetition of the previous note. This will show you exactly how long the previous note is meant to sound. During the più largo, try to connect the large interval as much as possible so that the melodic line is not interrupted. A good way to train your ears is to play the lower notes after the jump, an octave higher, and then imitate the same motion in the proper octave. The grace notes should sound graceful and not hurried or aggressive. They must match the lyrical style of the più largo. There are great opportunities to play with time in this etude. My advice is that you plan them well, so not to overdo them. And make sure that every rallentando and accelerando are organic. Find the subdivisions within the speeding up and slowing down. Speaking of subdivisions, well, the majority of the etude is 16th notes. So be sure to continue the 16th note subdivision in your head as you move through 8th notes, quarter notes, and most importantly, the quarter notes tied into the following 8th note in the più largo section. To speed up, slow down, or maintain a steady tempo at the end of the etude, it is very important to continue the subdivision going as you play the final 3 quarter notes. Keep the style very light throughout and don't play the staccato dots on top of the notes too short. Instead, make them bouncy. This etude should not sound heavy nor labored. Lastly, remember to make music and have fun learning and performing this etude, and you'll find the process and the results very rewarding. Thanks for watching, and make sure to visit us at axiombrass.com for more videos. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.